Jamban Real Glamour Jamban fii si biir dëkk bi dama ne ku doon daw na nga bàyyi daw ku doon xalaat na nga bàyyi xalaat parce que original materials la ne dama ne yéen ñi nga xam ne yéen a doon xalaat naka la fan la ak foo koy amee si Jamban Real Glamour rek nga ko amee fépp fu waay nekk rek ñu indil la ko si sa bunti néeg si sa bunti kër yow su dee yaa ngi Europe bul xalaatati dara call ñu rek ñu waxtaan ak yow ba juboo sa piis si sa bunti néeg dama ne Jamban Real Glamour mi ne duma am bitik de déedéet man si askan bi laa nekka foo leen ma woo rek ma tax.
Jamban Real Glamour xeeti piis boo xalaat amal na leen ko fi lu si mel ni Facebook taka peinture Polman VIP batik Instagram WhatsApp xanaay wax day jee.
Jamban Real Glamour yëngu nañ de askan bi yëgu leen ko kon ma yëgal leen.
782 5587 wala 299 2967 ba tey nga email ñu jambanfatumk@gmail.com.
Jamban Real Glamour Jamban Real Glamour Jamban Real Glamour.
One time, you know what I mean, at Gambia Talent Promotion TV and all that. You get me? So then we get this look how si dekabi at lu waral si dekabi TV bila fee fancy and I'm the jamai ak haters. Welcome to Gambia Talent TV show. You get me? Sen hol halatu pon inen ko sani fili simbalit kinili halen tawi talk di ko foye fili. Cause Pepper TV bu nekk si tundi Gambia gi Gambian Talent TV mooy seeni baay man one pack maa ko wax ku ko dinaay nga def leneen comme gars yi ñu ñooy defee yaa ngi understand ñun ñoo fi ñëw xoolal di régler lu fi manqué di mutal lu fi manqué di def lu fi kenn deful mu ngi nii.
Justice Charles Suleiman Jallow, Chairman of the Gambia Constitutional Review Commission, and I watch Gambian Talents TV.
Gambian Talents Allakano Yenyala Mandia Apachaki Allaboilo Nyancho Jollof Arts.
Karasu Properties and Investment Limited, ye can also dale Lamen Karawa, 20 by 20. Jiobeje, Kurangabeje. Ninsun Karobu Nyanala Horomo Kang, Iba Wafila $200,000 cash. Ikafumim Fane mortgage, ka domon in domon ninjo, Katafu Kariworo, Ibo Wafila $250,000. Karasu Properties and Investment Limited, Ibal Content Sunkarolo. Karasu Properties. Link us and we make you a home builder.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching or listening to us from. Welcome to yet another edition of the Nyohobai show, brought to you by Gambian Talents TV. I'm your presenter, your host, OUSMAN JOOF. I always have the pleasure to bring you wonderful people who have done a lot for our country, people who continue to contribute their quarter to the development of the Gambia. Just a couple of days ago, I brought you an interview with Sirif Bojang Jr., the current president of the Gambia Press Union, as well as Ms. Fatou Toure of the Kerfatu online news network. Where we talked about the award at the Gambia Press Union, the recently concluded award, amongst other things. We are back again. Tainak mafas ine jakarlo with somebody who is not a stranger to Gambia. If we're talking about media today, I must say that these are the people who inspired us. We grew up watching them, listening to them, seeing what they did, seeing them do what they did until we're here today. So it's a privilege, definitely, an honor to be here with Mr. Tombong Saidy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. JOOF. I'm privileged to be here to be interviewed by you, and want to thank Gambian Talent TV for the wonderful job they've been doing. When we organized the Senegambia Run for Peace, they were there with us throughout. So, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Like I said, Tombong Saidy is not a strange name when it comes to Gambian media. We will talk about that. But for a start, I would like you to tell me who Tombong is, like background information, education, family background.
Well, Tombong Saidy is a simple Gambian from Kaur, CRR, and then went to school in Kaur, primary school, Kaur secondary school, then went to Nusrat High School, then eventually St. Augustine's High School for my sixth form. From St. Augustine's, I went to the U.S., to Howard University in Washington D.C, where I did my BA in political science and economics.
When you mentioned Nusrat, I was going to say people from Nusrat are not usually that smart. I know St. Augustine's must have taught you somewhere. So the same spirit must have.
Actually, Nusrat people are very smart. I mean, during my time, we used to beat St. Augustine's on debates and quiz.
Really?
Yes, I used to be the national quiz champion and debate champion.
From Nusrat?
Yes, and even St. Augustine's and Nusrat, with all their six formers, we used to beat them. The Bachibales and the Dominic Mendes and the others. Yes.
But
Nusrat students are very smart.
St. Augustine sealed the deal. At the end of the day, St. Augustine sealed the deal for you.
No, I went to St. Augustine's because by then it was only St. Augustine's and Nusrat that had St. Augustine's and Gambia school have sixth form.
Okay.
So Nusrat didn't have sixth form. So that's the only reason I went to Nusrat.
You must have been I went to people from Sense.
No. Actually, unfortunately, Father Goff is not alive. May his soul rest in peace. But if you ask Tian, Cisse, and the others, I was at St. Augustine's. I was in St. Augustine's, but at the same time supporting Nusrat when they play against St. Augustine's.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Products, high school products at the time compared to now is very different. We continue to hear the educational system in the Gambia. It's a big disgrace this minute, having over 10,000 students graduating from high school and less than 500 having 5 credits or more to be able to get to tertiary institution. Can you just share with us what was the secret at the time compared to now? I mean, what was you guys' secret?
No, I think during our time we had better teachers.
Okay.
Yes, for one. And 99% of the teachers were Gambians.
Okay.
That's also another reason. And secondly, by then, there were only, like when I was growing up, there were less than 10 high schools in the Gambia. We had St. Augustine's, Gambia High School, St. Joseph's, in Banjul. Then you have Nusrat. Then later on, Nusrat and St. Peter's and Muslim High School came in 1974, I think. Okay, we had Hermitage in the provinces all the time. So you would see that by then, like for us in Kaur or in the provinces, there was only one high school in the province. That was Hermitage. And so if you want to go to high school, you have to study harder because there were only maybe 200 students also would be accepted in high school. So I think that also encouraged us to study hard. But I think our parents then also were more on our case than now, and plus our teachers were, really good. And during those days we have corporal punishment.
Yes.
If you do something wrong at home, I mean, you don't even want your teachers or your headmaster to know. Because if your parents go to school and report you, you'll be even punished. Harder. So all those things I think helped. And also the system then. For me, I prefer the common entrance and the OA level system than what is what is obtained now. Yes.
I think that is good. I was going to ask, a lot of the people from the provinces went to Hermitage then. Hanayo, boy, Banjul, Rek are the ones you were looking up to. You just wanted to go to Banjul, or why did you not go to Hermitage?
No, that's not it. Because Hermitage was full at the time.
Okay.
And I got accepted at this place, Nusrat. So, no, because actually what happened, when I first started my common entrance in 74, I passed to go to Muslim high school because I chose Muslim high school. Then I went there, I got accepted, I registered, but my uncle said I wouldn't go to Muslim because if I go to Banjul, I will not learn, I will follow the city boys and then go and follow the the tourists, because by then people used to go on chinks, what they call chinks, like now they call them bumsers. So because of that, my uncle asked me to stay. So I stayed in Kaur, went to Kaur Secondary School, took my secondary fourth, came up with 8 credits. I took first in the school. So then I went to Nusrat. So even when I went to Nusrat, he didn't want me to go there. But luckily, one of my uncles, the late Alhaji Ali Barrajang, insisted that, I will go, and he said he will pay for me. Okay. So he paid for my school at Nusrat. Then I went to Nusrat. That's how I moved to Banjul in 78.
Okay, that's good to hear. This is why I say it's always good to know somebody's jar. I bring this part of this component of the show so that we'll get to know somebody's background and what they went through, some of the struggles, the challenges, etc. You mentioned going to Harvard, but then, yes, Howard, yes, in DC. When you finished your A-levels at St. Augustine's, did you happen to work in Gambia, or you just finished and came straight to the
No, I mean, when I was in high school, I was among those radicals who was against the government. So I never wanted to work in the Gambia. Okay. So when I finished my A-level, I voluntarily taught at St. Augustine's in Banjul, JOOF, on Hagan Street. Because I had a friend who was teaching there, Mbai Sar. So one time I was looking at their books, because I did geography up to A-level. So when I saw their notes, then I went to JOOF, the late JOOF, the head master then, and told him that I want to voluntarily help and teach, for at least 3 months.
Straight from high school
yes. Yeah, but the difference was, because I did my O-levels, I did geography in O-level, in secondary fourth, and I did an O-level, and then I did it in sixth form too. Okay. So they were doing their secondary fourth. So I did that years ago. So I have an idea of what the syllable is like. So I helped them and volunteered for 3 years. By then I had already applied, and the late Father Goff was helping us, helped me get a school, University of Maine. So I was waiting for the I-20. So I said, rather than sitting idle, let me just get in the teaching and help. Okay. So when my I-20 eventually came, I got help from people like Obi Konate, to come to the U.S. Okay. Because when I finished school, for example, by then Obi Konate has, was my uncle's friend, and he used to come to our place. And then he asked me whether I want to work. I said, no, I don't want to work. I want to go and further my studies. So he said, okay, anytime you have your I-20, just let me know, I'll pay for you. So when I had it, I went to him, showed him my I-20. So he just gave me a blank check, He gave me a blank check. I went to Gambia Airways, and they checked the tickets, and they just filled the check. Okay. Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah, that's how generous Obi Konate. So I'm always grateful to him. Okay. Yes.
He only paid for your ticket, or the tuition was included?
No, he paid for my ticket and gave me some little pocket money, and then put me in contact with the late Omar. The late Omar, what's his last name again? He used to be the ambassador of Gambia at the UN. No, it's not Omar Sy. It's wow. Anyway, his name will come back. Okay. Then because he was married to Obi's wife's sister, Ami. So I stayed with them for some time, then went to Maine. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is good. So you came to the United States and registered in Howard, right?
No, I went to Maine, University of Maine first, because
for your associate.
No, I went there, but they expected when I went there, I thought that I would have full scholarship, but then they gave me half scholarship. Okay. And since I didn't come with enough money, so I told them, well, I'll go back to New York and work. Then I'll come back.
You didn't do a lot of semesters there?
No, I spent only a week. Then I came back to New York, worked a little. Then some of my friends were already in D.C. They contacted me, so I moved to D.C. Then when I moved to D.C., I registered with Strayer College for 1 term, then transferred to Howard University. Howard, okay. Yeah, because I couldn't get to Howard directly at the time. So I went to Strayer because I had good grades, then I transferred to Howard University.
President Obama became one of the most influential person in the world when it comes to power and everything. He has done a lot of unskilled jobs, labor jobs and stuff. So you were in the US, there's no doubt, starting out, you must have started humbly doing, can you tell us what type of jobs? You know, today, young people can see Tombong traveling around the world and, wow, Tombong really, Jar Jar, we want to see Jar Jar.
No, because, during our time, unlike now, or what I see with some of these young guys, I mean, we were competing who gets the best grade in college and who goes to the best universities. Okay, when I first came, I worked in a supermarket in New York on 14th Street, as a sub-assistant. And from there, I went to D.C. I worked as a boss boy. I worked as a waiter. I worked as a cab driver. Yes, I worked as a cab driver. Later, I managed a nightclub, the Calabash nightclub in D.C. So I did all kinds of odd jobs, because I mean it's good to go through that because it helps you become, what you are today. Because by then my parents cannot afford to pay for me, and I was lucky that I had help come here, so I just have to work hard to pay for my school. But luckily for me, at Howard at the time, if you have a GPA of 3.5 and above, you have scholarship. So after my first term, I didn't pay until I graduated. I had scholarship, full scholarship throughout. Throughout my stay there.
Okay, that is good to hear. I mean, like I said, a lot of the young people think it is miracle. See somebody somewhere, I don't know. I mean, saying Jar Jar and stuff. So today in the United States, Seattle Finekani, you have over 5 to 10 African stores. I mean, anything we want is right available at our doorsteps. How was life in the US at the time? I would assume this was in the 80s, right?
Yeah, it was in the 80s. I graduated in 89.
89, okay. So how was life in the US at the time? Now we have thousands of Gambians in Seattle alone and all over.
Well, by then we don't have a lot of Gambians around. Okay, in DC, we have some. We have some in DC, Atlanta, New York, but not as many as they have it now. But by then, Seattle, we have only a few Gambians. Even around Wisconsin, Madison, there were only 1 or 2 Gambians. The Remy Joiners and the Allen and those people. So, I mean, we used to just manage with what we have to cook. We have our sisters around. They used to use, for example, smoked turkey to subsidize for corn. So we all learn how to cook. One of my roommates, Keba Mendy, who's now back in the Gambia, he taught us how to cook. He was a very good cook. And the first food I cooked was domoda. But the first domoda I cooked, the first domoda I cooked was beige in color because I didn't know that you're supposed to put the tomato lohati there. The tomato paste.
How can you imagine?
So, but after that, now I'm a good cook. I still do cook, once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good. Yeah. So have you been back to the Gambia? Did you go for holidays while you were here, or you never went back?
No, I didn't go back until '92 during the Africa Cup of Nations in Dakar.
Okay.
So I went, to use that opportunity to watch the Cup of Nations.
Okay.
Then I went to Dakar, and Banjul. My mom lives in Senegal.
Okay.
So I went to Banjul, then went to Dakar. Okay. Then from '92, I started going back and forth to Banjul.
Okay. So you graduated at Howard. What was your degree? What did you graduate in?
I graduated in political science and economics, summa cum laude. And then I wanted to do law.
Okay.
I was doing my SAT and studying and working, saving. Then the coup came.
Okay.
Yeah, when the coup came, by then I was, driving my taxi and managing Calabash. So I was recruited to work at the embassy.
So even with a degree, you resorted to driving taxi and managing a club. How come you didn't go and look for employment in your field of study?
No, because there are two things. One, driving a cab was good and still good, because now I see that they're driving this Uber, which is better than our time. Driving a cab was good in the sense that I own my cab, I make my hours, then I can make my schedule. I can schedule my lessons from like 8 o'clock to 12 or 8 to 1, then have a break. Then from 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I'll work until around 8, 9 during the rush hour, and make some, some money. And then anytime you want to go to Banjul, you just park your car and go to Banjul. You come next day, you start. So it's very flexible, but it's very addictive in the sense that because you are used to getting money daily basis, so it makes you sometimes forget about going to work in your field. Yeah, because I have some friends. I have a friend in D.C, a Ghanaian friend who is a PhD, but he's still driving a cab. He doesn't want to, because of the, the money is good.
Yes, that's right. Thank you very much. I think it is important to know some of these things. And this is for the young people. We always think, okay, gis nañ ki se li, gis nañ ko fele. Jaar jaar bi dafa am solo. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it is important to struggle, to strive, to go through certain things before you become who you are today. So don't judge the book by the cover. It's always good. You're watching the Nyohobai show on the Gambian Talents TV. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we return with Mr. Saidy. Yes, you were in the Gambia, did what you, in America, went to school, finished, drove a car, and eventually cab, and eventually you were recruited to be at the embassy. Who did the recruitment? You connected with the Junta anyhow? How did that come about?
No, what happened was when the coup, before the coup, I was active in politics. I was against Jawara throughout. We had a magazine here called Jaliba, with myself and Senumenga in DC and other people. We used to publish it quarterly, talking about how bad things are. I used to write in West Africa magazine, criticizing the government and things like that. So when the coup came, for us who were opposing Jawara, it was a welcome change. However, we had an association here of concerned Gambians, with myself, Hussein Umenga, the CD James, the late Dr. Nyang, Dr. Suleiman Nyang, and Sukai Prom and others. We wrote to the Junta. In fact, it was published in the Observer then, that, we supported the change because we think that is the only way to change the government at the time. However, we expect them to return the country back to civilian rule within 2 years. So the Junta, when they came here for the first mission, Koro Sise was there, Lilith Koro Sise, Ibu Jalo was there, I think Bibi Dabo was not there. I think either Bibi Dabo or Bala Jahumpa, one of them. But I know, I have the pictures. I have to look at the pictures again. So we had a meeting with them and expressed our concerns and support and all that. And then
just out of curiosity, those are
the
core members.
From the Junta was Ibu Jalo. He was the spokesperson of the Junta by the time. By then, this was in 95. Yes. So when they went back, I was contacted by Koro Sise. Yes, telling me that they want me to work with them at the embassy.
Who was running the embassy at the time?
By then, the former ambassador, Usman Salah, was removed, and Amidiba was acting, was the Chargé d'Affiars. So then I, discussed with my colleagues, with Mbaisar and Osmenga and the others, and the conclusion was, well, since they recruited, it's good to help them. So I took over to help the embassy because I'm already here and I know the terrain, and I have friends and classmates who are working in Congress. So I said, okay, why not? I joined it to help and contribute.
In what capacity?
I was the Chargé d'Affiars, which means the head of the embassy at the time.
Without an ambassador?
Yes.
Okay. So how long were you in that position?
I was here for like 18 months Then I moved to UK and was the Chargé Affiars also for 18 months, for about 6 months, then went back to Gambia in 97.
These are some of the things that we actually, I personally didn't know because we were younger at the time and media wasn't as much as it is now. What are some of the achievements you've made while you were here and in the UK?
No, a lot, because that was the early days. By then it was AFPRC. There was no APRC. So I held a lot of town hall meetings with Gambians in Atlanta, in Chicago, in New York, explaining to them the change, why the need for this change, and was dialoguing with the Gambian community, and had a very good relationship with them because I was one of them, and the relationship was very good between the two, between the embassy and the Gambian community. And then I also helped change the perception of the embassy, make it more friendly to the community, and make the staff also happier by making sure that they have their proper salaries and things like that.
So how about between the United States and Gambia? What were some of your achievements?
No, by then, the Gambia was under sanction. But luckily, I had friends in Congress and outside who know some of these Congress people, and we were able to help in the sense that funds were going to Gambia, but through CRS. We had a CRS rep there, Janet, an American, and working with, we had this lobbyist, Van Clobert, who passed away also, and some friends in Congress, and they were helping the Gambia through CRS, like giving, that's when now, well, I don't know how long you've been to the Gambia, but now CRS has been changed, I think, to Christian Fund, I think, CF. By then they
Christian Relief Fund.
Yeah, CRS. Yeah, was Christian Relief Fund then, but now they've changed the name. By then they would send rice and cooking oil through CRS to help the government because they couldn't send or help the government directly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So in '97. You went to Gambia. You were recalled. No,
actually, I had a problem here. I had a problem here with my wife at the time, and before that, my car was towed. I went to my cousin's friend, Pasejeng, and the car was towed there. But it was an embassy car, a diplomatic car, which shouldn't be towed. So I queried, went to the tow, this thing, made a lot of noise there, and they had to call the Secret Service to let them release the car. Then after that, I had a problem with my wife, so all that,
so were you deported? Personal non grata?
Yeah.
Personal non grata?
Yes. I was given personal non grata. But it was not because of only that incident, because also, Jawara at the time had a lot of friends in the system. Edmund Moose was then the Assistant Secretary of State for Africa. Moose was once the ambassador of US in Senegal, I think, and he was a friend to Jawara, and they used to play golf together. So he didn't like the change, but the change had already happened, so he was giving us tough time. And I was making a lot of inroads in terms of getting to Congress, because once you get the US is different from most countries. State Department and Congress are very independent of each other. So if you can make good friends in Congress, you can get help from Congress, because they are the one who will allocate the funds and things like that. So we were making some inroads there. So because of those two incidents, they declared me persona non grata. So I was transferred to UK, waiting for the elections to pass. By then, we were working on the '96 elections. So when I went there, until after the elections, then I went to Gambia.
Since you mentioned having a problem with your wife, your former wife, we heard about this. We're talking about Fatu Diba, right?
Yes, yes.
We've had a lot of rumors over the years that Tombong was beating up Fatu, was abusing her.
Nah.
This is the reason why, he was deported. They had their issues. Was that the case? This is the story. We grew up hearing, okay, the Fadur Jabaram, and he was a woman beater right now, especially with this new Gambia Me Too movement, abuse of women and everything. What can you say?
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. We had a problem, but it has nothing to do with beating. I don't beat women. And since then, before her, I was married to an American, Monica, and she has never had any issue with me. I've never even touched her. And after her, I had other wives, and none of them has ever complained of being beaten. So that's just a false rumor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you went to UK, you went with Fatu, or no?
Yeah. We went together.
So you guys were still married. You just had a problem.
Yeah, we stayed together until we stayed together until 1999.
Okay.
Yeah. After that incident was in 95.
95. Okay.
96. Yeah. We stayed until 99. By then we didn't even have a child yet. We stayed until 99 when we had a child, Nana, who is like 20. He will be 20 in September. So we went to the UK, we stayed there, then we went back to Gambia together. When I went, I was appointed as the Deputy Palm Sec Administrator of Trade, and then she started working at GRTS. Then afterward, I was forced to go to GRTS because I didn't want to go to GRTS.
I was definitely going to come to GRTS. But was Fatu in the media here? I know she was doing media music or something when she was in Gambia.
No, because previously, before we got married, she was working at Radio 1.
Radio 1.
You know, with the Lamin Mangas and Aruna Drame and Fatu Kamara and others. So when we got married, she left that and came here. So when we went back...
So you guys met in Gambia, not here?
Yeah, we went in Gambia. Yeah.
Okay.
So we met in Gambia. So I brought her over here. So when we went back, by then GRTS was on. Then she started working for GRTS with the children's program. And then also having a program with Aruna Request Show. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about when we come to GRTS. Anyway, so you went back, you were Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade. Then from there you were forced to go to GRTS. Why were you forced and who forced you?
No, because GRTS by then, they were having issues in terms of management.
I interviewed Haruna Drame and I even thought you were the first manager, but Haruna rectified me that you were maybe the second or third.
No, the third.
Okay.
The first manager was Jonathan.
Okay.
Jonathan, and because, GRTS started as a department within Gamtel.
Gamtel, that's what happened.
Jonathan was in Gamtel, was one of the directors. So when they first created it, so he was the director of broadcasting. By then we call him director of broadcasting, DBS. So after him, Modu Sanyang came. No, Ibrahim Sanyang. So Ibrahim Sanyang came. Then Ibrahim Sanyang was there for a while. I think there were issues of management and control and stuff. So they wanted me to go, so I didn't want to go because by then I was working with Dominic Mendy at the Ministry of Trade. We had a lot of plans. By then we were working on having a Gambia Development Fund. The Gambia Development Fund was going to be a fund of $100 million at the time, but contribution would have come from Gamtel, ports, the big and Ministry of Finance. And what we wanted was to have this fund to help support Gambian industry and business. For example, if you come up with a proposal to open a soap factory, we will study it and then come up with the seed money. But then the director of finance of your company would be from government to make sure you control the funds and repay it back to the Gambia Development Fund. If it is repaid back, then in full, then you have the option to keep that Gambian the finance director who is there on secondment, or he can come back. And then we will encourage you to look for other Gambian partners to continue your project. So we were in the middle of that. Then, by then Ibrahim Cisse was the minister of Minister of Local Government. No, Minister of Communication, and we were under him. So, and my relationship with Yaya then was close, but also very mutual, respectable relationship. So for him, he wanted me to go there as a buffer. So any problem, I will deal with Yaya directly instead of the problem coming to him.
So who? Oh, Ibrahim.
Ibrahim Cisse. So he wanted me to go there and take care of that. Dominic wanted me to stay so that we can continue working on our project. So we had this pull and pull. So one day Yaya just called and said, "Look, you are going there by force, whether you like it or not." So they wrote to me and transferred me to GRTS. That's how I went to GRTS.
Okay.
So even when I went, I told him, my wife is working there, so I cannot be there. So he said, "Yeah, you can do your work and she does his work." So that's how I got to GRTS. But my wife was there
as director of broadcasting, or was the name changed?
No, I became
independent.
I was director of broadcasting for about a year and a half. But then we were having problems in terms with Gamtel. Okay, we have support of Gamtel and support of Bakar Njai, but we thought that we should be independent, So we,
And Gamtel didn't like that, or
No, Gamtel liked it because.
But the government wasn't ready for that.
Yes, and there was no legislation.
Okay.
At the time, to any act to create GRTS. So we pushed and pushed and pushed, and finally they let us go. And then we changed the name to from DBS to Director General.
Okay.
Yes, and then we come with but it was just Gambia TV. So because we are going to merge with the radio, we call it Gambia Radio and Television.
I was going to ask, at what point did the name change?
It was at that point that it changed. But there was a small problem, because when I came there, because Gamtel created GRTS, they gave GRTS almost the same salary scale as Gamtel. So you see that people at the TV were receiving more salary than people at the radio.
Okay.
So when I came, when we merged, I said, no, that's not fair.
You were responsible for both the radio and TV at the time.
TV, so they should have the same salary. And even by then, and until now, the TV was more accessible, because the whole country can listen to the TV. They don't need electricity, just a radio, small radio, and a battery. So we brought the salaries up so that they will be at the same level. Yeah.
Okay, that is good. So you were at GRTS, and obviously it was the early days. There was no other television. Right now you have Gambian Talent, you have several online platforms, and even 3 or 4 local televisions in the country. But GRTS was the only thing available, and as a result, every Gambian had to watch GRTS. For the most part.
GRTS was the only Gambian TV, but you have Senegalese TV.
Yes.
And other TVs.
Yeah,
so we were competing with RTS at the time. And they had more resources than we did.
Yeah, but at the time there was that sense of ownership. Gambians can feel like, okay, this is our own, and we watched it whether we like it or not. And whatever GRTS brought was being watched by Gambians for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. But also we had better programs then than now, because I had lived here. I have some experience of what TVs produce and type of program they produce, and we had some good training. We have people like Tijan Jobate and others who studied media production here, who is still in the media business here in New York. They were all there, and we had some good training of some of those staff who went to Egypt and Deutsche Welle training, and Peter Gomez was in Germany at the time, teaching Deutsche Welle, came back with lots of experience. So we had a very good and strong core of staff.
And you brought in almost everybody that was under George Christensen, right? A lot of them came. Whether you brought them, but at this time,
not necessarily. I brought them, but I met Fat Diba there. Some of them came afterward because we needed their talent, and they were young, very fresh ideas, and because by then we operate only for 6 hours. We open at 6 to midnight. So we have to make sure that from 6 to midnight, people will watch us, and not watch Senegalese TV, because people were used to watching Senegalese TV. But we had some very good programs, at the time. And for me, we had better programs then than now, because apart from the news, we had extra touch, and we were encouraging Gambian musicians, and we had other, because it was a pioneer. We saw ourselves as pioneers. For example, we used to have this Gambian music festival at the Arch every Independence Eve, 17, where you have all Gambian talents. They are shown for like 12 hours. All that is gone now. So we used to have programs like Fadiba used to have programs like Let's Find Out. They go to different factories, Julburu, and then kids would ask questions as to how do you make Julpal, how do you make this drink. They go to the airport, talk to pilots, how do you fly. We had some very, very, very good program, and we have some interesting comedy programs. Because by then we feel that if you at work and get stressed and you come home, you should open the TV and watch something that will make you laugh. So we had some very good,
pranks or Wakambai was doing, and some of those things.
So we had some very good comedy programs.
Breakfast show you had.
We had, Rahiluba and others. They went to Ghana, and Abdul Ture, who's now currently the DG, they went to Ghana for studies. They came back. They came with new ideas, and it was very interesting.
I remember all of that. I mean, Haruna was doing a program with Fatou Diba, Diba, your wife. Yes, a lot of people were even accusing them. That's very common in media anyway. They have an affair or something. How did you feel seeing the chemistry that Fatou was having with Haruna?
It was good because Fatou knew Haruna well before me.
Yes, they had a good chemistry.
Yes, they were together well before I met Fatou. So. And they had a good chemistry, on the screen. So, for me, it was no big deal.
You didn't feel jealous?
No, I'm not jealous.
Well, in your defense, Haruna, I interviewed him just about a month and a half ago, and he talked great of you, by the way. I don't know if you watched it. He said you were very helpful. You and him had a lot of push and pull, but he was younger. He did not. Now that he's in your position, he's dealing with some of the things that you were dealing with at the time.
I was not very popular with the staff because I was very strict, and I believe that because I've lived in the US for so long and I've worked here, so and Gambia we have a problem of discipline. People don't take their work seriously. I'll give you an example of an incident. I had a big incident with Nene McDonald once. During the presidential tour, Meet the People's tour. We expect the reporter to be sending reports daily. When you cross to Bara, you go to Kerawan, you send a report that night. So one time she went with the president and then did not send report for 2 days. I called her. She said, well, because they finished the meetings late and she was tired. I said, no, that's no excuse. You need to send the report. So I
will want my staff to hear this.
Yes. So I record. She was a senior producer. She was a senior producer. She was, up there. So I recalled her and then suspended her with 2 weeks without salary. Yes. Even the president. When we went to, I think by then they were around Farafenyo, Joytown. After they went to Basse, I think the president didn't see her. Then she asked, they said, well, she's been recalled by Tombong. So when they get the kind of she asked me, what's the problem? So I explained to her. She said, why can't you just forgive her? I said, no. If I forgive her,
so then somebody to replace her?
Yes, somebody went and replaced her and continued the tour. And when they came to Kanilai, the president inquired why. I explained to her, I said, that's the rule. If it was a junior staff, the same thing will happen. As a senior staff, she should know better. And that's what happened. Okay. You know?
So I go through some of these things now. My team were just the Bambatenda Yili tender, and they at some point they claimed they were so tired, and this is just this last week anyway. So I mean, no. Leave the fire for. I mean, I take actions against them. In fact, for example, Adi Fati, he was lucky because I left just. Shortly after the election. But what happened was, during the election, he was assigned to cover, I think, either UDP or one of the opposition parties. We have a driver. You are a reporter. He went and took the car from the driver, driving, and had an accident. So I charge him. I tell him, you'll pay for the camera that's damaged, and you pay for the vehicle. You take it from your salaries. Okay. You know. And suspended him, even though he was wounded and everything. Because we have a driver. Considered very mean.
Yes, we have a driver, and the driver should drive, and not you as a reporter. You don't have a license. You went and damaged the. By then cameras were very expensive and vehicle. But luckily for him, I was removed before the conclusion of the investigation, and Bora and others just let things slide. Okay. But I was a strict disciplinarian. But most of them, after I left, they've seen why I was, because... Well,
Haruna now, if nobody knows, Haruna now knows exactly what you are doing because he's in that same...
But then I don't encourage, this loitering and things like that. Even if you come to my office, you said, Haruna has done this and this and has said this. I'll say, okay, sit down. I'll call Haruna. I said, Mr. Joof said this and this and this. What's your response? So when I started that, nobody else started coming, reporting the order. Because when I went to GRTS, there were factions within GRTS. You have the Jenabanyang on this side, you have Bora and Nene Magdol on this other side. They have their own faction there. Yes, which they came with from the radio. So for me, we are there to work. I don't care where you are from or which faction. When it's time to work, you do your work.
So a lot of the staff at the time though came from the radio, either the GRTS radio or from the other community radios.
From the radio and the I think they have there was a film unit. The film unit like Modu Sanyang and the others and people like Mod Joof, they come from film unit. Others came. Yes, they came from the film unit. No, Ibuwage was working for cooperative. Okay. Then after he left, but he was already in the media. Yeah. Okay.
So what are some of those tangible achievements that, like your footprint, your blueprint at GRTS? Can you tell us before we move on?
No, I mean it's a lot. First of all, I encourage them. I encourage building the capacity. Okay. To get as many scholarships as possible for them. By then I had a very good relationship with Yaya. I could just go walk into his office and say, look, we need vehicles. Okay. And I will argue, and they'll give us vehicles to use for our coverage. And then I also made sure that the staff at the radio and TV are all equal. And I sent most of our cameramen, BT and others, we send them to Dakar. Yeah, we send them to Dakar for training. They went there for a month, and worked with Senegalese TV. And when we had the coverage of the Zone 2, that was the first time Gambia TV was hosting such a big event. I had a good relationship with Babakar Jain at the Senegalese TV at the time. He gave me about 25 staff who came. We lodged them, cameramen, technicians who worked with our staff, to cover and they gained a lot of experience from it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So GRTS was like that at the time. A lot of the people who were there with you now, some of them continued, and even Abdul Ture you mentioned now became the Director General. All the people you left there at some point climbed the ladder within GRTS. Yes, and others now almost everybody have their own personal
stuff. I said to Bojang, the spokesperson, Boyen Sison. Yeah, she was at GRTS.
Okay.
She had a problem with Yaya, both her and Ami JOOF Kaur, because of this FGM thing. They had a big problem, and Yaya wanted to fire her. I said no. I fought for her not to be fired. Then I got her a scholarship and then sent her out of the country. Okay. And she went and did her studies, and came back. Then after she left, I went to Buffalo. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the Arunas now owning Paradise, Lamin Manga with unique taxi, even Peter Gomez.
Peter Gomez at West Coast, all those guys went through GRTS.
Okay. Yeah. So what did Tombong do to finally be removed from GRTS?
No, the problem at GRTS was a personal problem between myself and the president. It has nothing to do with GRTS. Well, it has something to do with GRTS, but it's more personal than...
Now, in fact, before that, you mentioned having a good relationship with him. I was going to ask you that. I'm glad you brought that up. Until Yaya left, GRTS was almost virtually not watched by anybody because meet me in Kanilai, what is happening. Basically, the president was all that was featured, but it was different from your time. Was Yaya trying to influence you by any means?
Because, my time, okay, I was lucky in the sense that by then he was not as power drunk and power hungry as he was at the latter, but that was the early days. One. Secondly,
So you had independent?
Yes, I had independent. And then.
But did he try?
He tried very hard. I give you an example. The first time he went to Mecca, he came back, and we had this every day. We would edit 1 hour of the trip and show it. So there was a day in which we played 1 hour. After then, we went to the next program. Then Moses Jallo, by then, was the protocol at State House. He called the control room and said, "He said for you guys to continue the program." So they called me. I said, "You guys go according to schedule. Don't continue. Forget about that." Then later, Moses called me and said, he said, I said, "Look, Moses, we have only 6 hours a day, and we have 1 hour allocated to the trip, and that is finished. The other ones are sponsored program, and we are continuing." So he told the president.
Okay, if that was in 2018.
So, but he didn't call me. So he called Bakari Njai.
Okay.
Bakari Njai called me and said, "What's the problem?" I explained to him. He said, "Hey, but Tom, I said, "Look, we cannot even continue because we edited only we edited only 1 hour, and we cannot continue." So then later, this guy called me, Jata, the army commander. He says, "Tombong, what's going on?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "Hey, let's meet at State House." I go, "But what?" I said, "Okay, no problem." Before that, Ibrahim also called me. Ibrahim Sise. Yes.
Minister. Wow.
Yes. Okay. So I went to State House. We found him there. There were other, I don't want to mention them, but I'm sure one of them told him that, "Look, this program is good. Let's continue. It should be continued." Yeah. So I went there. So he came out and went to the living room, and he explained and explained and explained and explained. I was just quiet. Then after, Bakari Njai asked me, "What do you have to say?" I said, "Look, I don't have nothing to say. I mean, he has my number. He should have just called me directly and said, 'Look, I want you to continue the program.' Then I'll explain to him. Then if you have been between the two of us, then all of you would not have known what is going on." I'm not trying to disrespect him, but this is the, this is the situation. We cannot do anything about it. Then, we all made peace and left. Like a week later, he said, "You are right, you were right, but next time you should obey and then compare." I said, "No." Yes, I said, "Next time you should call me directly, and then I'll explain to you. Then then all these people would not know, this, But he was, he's a very stubborn person. He would force his way. But if you fight back and he sees that you are right, sometimes he would just, allow you to, to continue.
Will I be still correct to refer back to your statement in the early days?
Yeah, because that was in the early days. Because, like from 1994 up to around 2000, 2001, he was not yet as bad as he became afterwards. He was, because there are a lot of incidences where he would fire somebody, and they would call me. We'll go to him and make a case, and he would see that he is wrong, and then he would reinstate.
So he was a one-ear man that would just listen to the first person that spoke and might have made a lot of mistakes. It looks like.
And one of his weakness is paranoia. If you tell him that Mr. JOOF is against you and he's plotting against you, even if it's a child who says it, the first thing he'll do, he'll arrest you. Yes, and detain you, and then try to find out. Later, if he find out that he was wrong, then he will release you and maybe reinstate you.
So there are things that you did that you are sure that if this was in 2015, 16, or 17, Tombong we would not be talking to you today.
Oh yes.
What are some of those instances?
I mean, a lot of things. Even when they killed Deda Haidara, I wrote, because when they killed Deda Haidara, I think it was on a Thursday, if I can remember. Okay. I went to State House. Alaji Sise was there. So I told him I want to see the president. But by then even I was out. I was no longer at GRTS. So he said, okay. He told him, he said, for me to wait. Then I waited until prayer time. We went and prayed in the mosque and came back. Then he went into his residence, and the mom went there with a lot of other women. Then I waited there until around 3, because on Fridays I eat lunch in Banjul. So I told this guy, I'm going. So I went and had my lunch with my VU.
You didn't get to meet him?
Yes, I didn't get to meet him. So I went and wrote an article, about yes, about
the article. What was the content of the article?
No, the article was to condemn it. Okay. And that investigation should be made.
Carried out.
Yes, and get to the bottom of it. Because what I wanted him to do at the time was for him to set up a panel of investigators, get the imam, the bishop, and president of the press union, and head of NIA and others, and then form an investigative panel and try to investigate what happened. If they found the culprit, let them deal with it. But at the time, I didn't know that he sanctioned the killing of Deda. Because afterward, then
that he's the one behind. Okay. So you said personal reasons with you and him. What was the reason?
No, the reason was, going into the elections, we all agreed that with IEC and all the opposition that everyone will have equal airtime. Okay. So we had the equal airtime.
This was 2001
elections. So I was allocating everybody equal airtime. But he was the president. So he would be covered in the news anyway. But then, but that was a tough election. It was very tough. I mean, as things, it was so tough. One day, Baba Job called and said, Tombong, look, these people are getting too much airtime. I said, no, they are not getting too much. They are getting equal airtime. And that's what is the agreement. So he said, no, you are giving the opposition. I said, no, I'm not. So we had an argument. Then Yaya summoned us. I was there with what is his name? The late farmer Jata, Baba, yes, Baba Job and others. And I said, look, this is the agreement. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to stick to this. Tomorrow, when the election is bad, they will not say GRTS was unfair. So then I said, in fact, I'm going to resign. But if I resign now, it will be a scandal because it's in the middle of the election. So immediately this thing ends, the election ends, I'm going to resign. Then he said, okay, I'll fire you. Before you resign, I'll fire you. I said, fine, fire me.
You had that. Yes. You had the guts like that to talk like that to Yaya at the time.
Yes, I said, fire me. Then we went. After the elections, they had this victory celebration at Makati Square. Then the following Friday, Yusuf Adiba, who is F. Diba's father, he called me and said, Tombong, there's a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, there's a letter here. I said, I was expecting it. So I went there. He showed me the letter. Your service are terminated with immediate effect. Actually, they wrote to him to terminate my service.
Who was he?
He was the permanent secretary, Ministry of Works.
Minister of Works. Okay.
Yes. So I told him, well, he said, well, why not you wait? Since it's Friday, we wait until Monday so we can talk to Vice. I said, no. Give me the letter. So I took the letter, went to GRTS. I called up a meeting, called all the senior staff, Jennifer Nyang, Borambo. I told them, setting fire and all that. I told them, look, I showed them the letter. I said, well, don't worry. This has nothing to do with you guys. It's me. So you guys just continue your, the program as we, have it. So I was there for 1 week, wrote my handing over note, and then I even recommended that instead of bringing somebody outside, let them take, Borambo, since he's assistant. Yes, to continue.
He was your assistant?
Yes. So I left, but by then I have my mobile business, Mobile Heaven.
Mobile Heaven.
Yeah, so I just went there and had my, continue.
Private.
Yes, my private event. That night, Asanjai was playing at Kerava. I went to Asanjai and, had fun.
Okay.
So when we had the meeting, it was just before Juma prayers. So I told them, look, you announce it in the 6 o'clock news, the Gambia. They said, no. I said, no, let's announce it. So I went to Banyul for my regular Friday lunch. It was announced. People started calling me. They want to come to my house. I said, no, I'm not at home. I'm at the VU. There's no need for anybody to come to my house. So, that's how we after that, he tried several times to get me back, but I didn't want to. Because after that, I saw a different Yaya Jammeh. I didn't want to work for him directly, where he would be responsible for my salaries or firing me or anything. So,
was Fatu still there, or at this time you and Fatu were already divorced?
No, we were already divorced, but she was still there. Yes, she was still there.
Okay. So you went ahead to continue the Mobile Heaven?
Yes, I continued my Mobile Heaven. Then afterward, we opened AMRA.
Yes, I was going to ask you.
Yes, we opened AMRA in 2001.
You and who?
Yes, originally it was myself, Bakari Jammeh, and D.G.
Okay.
That was the original founders. We agreed that we need to open a consultancy company that will have employment agency and all that. By then, D.G. was in Dakar, working for Shell. Bakari Jammeh was working at the Social Security. So we all contributed 5,000 each, 15,000 to open AMRA. We appointed one boy, Seka. By then I was at GRTS also. So when I left, and when I left GRTS, I was with Mobile Heaven doing my thing, and then later Seka was very slow in kick-starting the company, so we removed him. Then I went in and said, okay, I'll take over for 6 months without salary, just to keep the company, to grow it. So that's how I went to GRTS, to AMRA, working there while running Mobile Heaven.
Okay. So AMRA was a consultancy firm. I would imagine at the time. Now, if Yaya, during the later years of Yaya, if he removes you, you don't have any media presence in the country, especially on state media. But you managed, because I saw stuff that were done by AMRA at GRTS. How did you manage? Was it your influence you used? How did that happen?
No, we went, AMRA was a private entity. We don't have anything to do with government directly. But we would produce programs, and because we did marketing, promotion, advertisement. So we'll do advertisements and programs that will be on
that's what I'm saying, that were aired on GRTS.
Yes,
you being part of that, if it was in the later years of Yaya, you will definitely not, that will not have happened.
But we are paying for it. It was not free. We are paying for those programs, so we just go and ask for the airtime and pay. And even though I left, Yaya did not see me as an enemy.
Okay.
We had this mutual respect between us, throughout, Maybe it was during the impasse that we had another class when I wrote in my Facebook page that he should go because he's lost, and Barrow would be sworn in whether we like it or not, and nobody should be going to Senegal as refugees. We should stay and fight for, for Gambia, not wait for foreigners to come and die for us. So he was mad at that, and then the NIA were telling me, but we're also doing our thing, protecting ourselves.
Okay. So people accuse you, final question about GRTS, people accuse you of being corrupt at the time, that there was not much of a system over there. Adverts were coming, user influence, they give you some money, you put in your pocket and tell your staff, okay, air commercials, commercials, a lot of backdoor deals. I mean, you were doing.
Actually, it was the other way around. I was not corrupt. I was using my own money. GRTS. There were programs that I bought with my own money. I mean, because by then I had good savings from the US that I came with. I had good contacts. I was using my own money to help GRTS.
How?
A lot of ways. There were programs that I bought personally that were aired on GRTS.
Like which one?
I would use my vehicle, like Jordan, the life history of Jordan, those Pele program, all those sports programs, I bought them in the US here and aired them.
What the rights?
Yes.
Would there not be a conflict of interest, you being the director?
No, but I'm not.
The money didn't make profit?
My own money, I gave it to the institution. I was not making anything out of it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
You supported the institution, not you buying the rights to produce the content, get adverts.
I was supporting it.
Okay.
Actually, we had a very strong audit department, and there were people at the radio that I had a lot of problems with. There are some staff now, they are senior. I don't want to mention incidents I had with them. They would take money from people, go and cover programs and come and air it without anything. Or you'll just sit and hear on the radio the advertising. I'll give an example. There was this man, my uncle Alaji Barajeng was running King Fahad Travel, doing makeup program. And one of these men, producers at presenters at the radio, went to him. I don't know what they did. All of a sudden, I hear the adverts, his adverts on the radio. I inquired with the finance department. They said it's not paid for. So I called the guy, said, why? He's trying to give me extra. I said, you have to, we calculated, we took it from his salary.
Okay.
So he went and reported me to my uncle. I said, yeah, I don't own GRTS. GRTS is owned by the government. All advertisements should pay. So your advertisement also should pay. Even if it means I have to take my own money and pay for it, but it should be it should pay. So I had a lot of problems with some of these people.
But that is still, for the most part, in existence at GRTS. People have coverages. I've heard people say we have coverages. GRTS that will tell you, oh, Suma cameraman, you have to give money to the cameraman, you have to give money to, the reporter, some of those things. Or if you don't, a lot of people even told me, okay, well, if you invite GRTS, they're not going to come. Also, at the end of the day, especially if you don't give them money.
No, I'm not corrupt. I can put my hands up. Because like I've worked at the embassy in D.C, in London, at Ministry of Trade, at GRTS. But no one can tell you, because this thing is being watched by everybody. No one can tell you that I bribed Tombong for this, or I did this, or Tombong took money from me for this. No, I use my own money. Even right now, I'm here on a UDP tour. I'm using my own money.
We'll come to that, okay.
Yes, I'm using my own money.
Okay.
I didn't take a penny from UDP. I'm using my own money to come here, to go to, I went to Atlanta.
Didn't you see this UDP? Didn't you see UDP?
I went to all those places.
Yes.
I'm here. I'm going to 3 other states. With my own.
I will come to that with you. We move on. So you stop your career with government, stop at GRTS, right?
Yes.
You establish AMRA with your 2 other colleagues. Is AMRA still in existence?
Oh yeah, AMRA is still there.
What do you guys do?
We are still doing the same thing. We are doing. We are the first employment agency in the Gambia.
Okay.
People like the late Papa Lee. Okay. We recruited him for Africell.
Okay.
We recruited a lot of people for different institutions.
Okay.
There was a time Standard Bank, they had a problem with some of their bulk cash cashiers. And we took it up. We gave them staff for 1 year, and then after, those people were insured, so that in case they, take some of the money or do anything, and they were later absorbed there.
The system,
yes, and Trust Bank also the same thing. So we recruited a lot of people who work for us at AMRA, and we are still doing that. We do marketing, we do event management, even the launching of Q-Cell. We did the launching of Q-Cell. We introduced the Ndogo Q-Cell. We started it. If you see the first year, you will see me in all the mosques, doing it. So we do a lot of stuff. Right now, our number one client is pig milk. Yeah, we do all the pig milk adverts. Not long ago, we organized inter-school football tournament. So we do, we do a lot of things. Yeah.
So how established is AMRA now? It must be big. How many staff do you have?
No, we've always had, small staff.
Okay.
There was a time we had up to 250 staff.
Okay.
Because there was a time all the staff of Elton and Total were our staff.
Okay.
But, they are our staff in the sense that Elton pays us, we pay them. They were working on that. But our core staff, it's only like 7 of us.
7 of you.
Yeah.
Okay, and still now it's AMRA that you do full time.
Yes.
What happened while having?
No, AMRA was closed because afterward there was too much competition and it was just the market was saturated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So besides that, you said you've been always involved in politics. It looks like your uncle has been opposition from the get-go, right?
Exactly.
Has been opposition from the get-go.
Every government oppose. One principle sometimes.
So compromise. AMRA is good. I am glad. I'm learning a lot from you, by the way, because we didn't know that. Okay, Nyom has been there for the longest. We see them with the coming of social media. We see them very active.
And others, and Papalitis and others, and the late this guy Jangha. They were there since during the ALD. The ALD is All Africa Liberation Day.
Yes.
By then it used to be at the Carter Baron, where people go, African Americans, and talk about African liberation. With the Stokely Michael and others. So all have been there, not today. Yes.
He loves that,
right? The day of Che Guevara.
I know, right? Uncle Fong but he's doing a wonderful job. Anyway, so 2016, you said you Tombong was laying low for the most part, doing your business. We didn't hear you in politics, right or wrong?
No,
active politics.
No, I was not in active politics. Even when I was at GRTS, I was never at active politics. I've never spoken in a rally in my life.
Okay.
Never in my. I've always liked to be in the background because I know my strength. My strength is being in the background and helping, raising funds and doing some work here and there, organizing in the background. But when it comes to being in the forefront of talking in rallies and stuff, that has never been my forte.
Okay. So 2016, you said you wrote against Yaya. Did you vote against Yaya? Did you vote for Barrow?
Yeah. Okay, I voted for Barrow. Yes. Why? I have a special relationship with Useno.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were UDP all along? Is that what you want to tell us? UDC?
No, not UDP all along, but I was a sympathizer. For a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a long time, but in the years that you voted, you probably voted for Yaya, especially when you were in the system and stuff.
No, yes, in 2001, of course, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. But then you had a good relation with Useno. So 2016, you wrote the piece, you said, and posted it on your Facebook. The NIA, who informed you that Yaya was not happy with that?
No, because I had good friends with a lot of people in the system.
Okay.
The police, the NIA, the army, because I've always been there for most of them. Most of them, I fought for them to be, even when I was out of government, if some have a problem, I find my way of intervening, because normally when I get to him, he would normally respond, because he knows that I just don't go there for, anytime I request to see him and I sit with him, it's like something positive for the country or for somebody who has been done injustice or something. So I had a lot of respect within the army, within the police, within the... So if some of my contacts within the NIA, they informed me that let me be careful because they are, telling me. I said, okay, no problem.
We're hearing a lot of those things that people are claiming that in those last hours of Yaya, he was still trying to discipline people and take action against people.
Oh, yes.
We've had several people. You are not the only one. I interviewed Pabobo Jobate who did a song.
No, it's true.
Several people who claim that at this hour, Yaya was still trying.
Look at that boy who was killed. He was killed during the impasse. I forgot his name. From the Coker family there in Lasova. I think he used to work at the hospital. So, up to the last minute, he was, getting ready to,
eliminate people or discipline people. Okay. Okay. So you voted against Yaya. You voted for Adama. The change came. Were you involved in politics? We started seeing Tombong during the UDP Congress in 2018. Before then, were you involved by any means? What was the first time that you became involved and officially became part of UDP?
No. With UDP, even before the Congress, I was involved in them. I was in the fundraising committee with them after the impasse, immediately after the impasse.
You now became official UDP?
Yes.
You joined the party?
Yes. And then I was in the fundraising committee and working with them until the Congress. And then during the Congress, when we were selecting the different positions, again I was identified to be the administrative secretary for senior administrative secretary for external affairs, which is like the foreign side of foreign minister, kind of. Yeah. So we went to the Congress, and I was elected.
You must have heard a lot of people saying UDP 2016, and they're referring to the likes of Tombong Saidy, who were there since 1996. And struggled, and now actually even on the other side, like with Barrow and stuff. They're talking about you guys, the Almamitals, and all of the new people that came.
That is normal. Political parties have to evolve. And the life of political party can only be extended by bringing in new people. Okay? And without new people, political parties will die. And Gambia is small. It's small to the point that you cannot say that, okay, I will be in this party forever. If you are in a political party and you see that they are going off track, and you see another political party that is espousing the same views or the same position as you believe in, there's nothing wrong, joining that political party.
Yeah, but people are calling you, the Almamitals and others, selfish, that, okay, you were there, you were intellectuals, you have the capacity in every way, shape or form to have been part of the party from that time, but all of you stayed away and left UDP with the old people, and left UDP with the uneducated people. Most of the people who suffered and died for UDP really are people who don't have like formal education or St. Janga Soriwood. We're talking about with no disrespect, the Solo Sandengs, you're talking about the Nogoinjais and all of these people who went through so much pain, or people who were even killed at UDP, don't have a lot of formal education. You the elite, even the president.
You don't need to have education to go into politics.
Yeah, but even the elites, President Barrow Munglenanganya Shilolo every time. Where were you? More what doctors say.
Where was he? Where was he?
He was at UDP.
Where was he?
He was at UDP.
Doing what?
He was the deputy treasurer. He put in all his millions.
Barrow, Musgadiga, you arrest anywhere. Musgadiga, you java cofen. Biyo Renyom Saros and Fumnekon.
Well, Nyoko was Modesga now, because according to him.
Biyo Renyom Saros Sanding. Biyo Saros Sanding. Can I go Modesga now?
They did Biyo Saros Sanding. A lot of the executive game solo went out from what we learned, not on behalf of UDP.
Biyo Aris guy, Sea Bridge be 96 billion Sea Bridge Fumnekon.
He might not have been there at the time. I mean, but he was in UDP though, and the UDP leader Ousainou Darboe and other members have acknowledged that Barrow was there, and he was the deputy treasurer, and he was
he was in the party. He was in the party and involved, but now he has shown his true colors. Do they mamuna and I all my life, ma am to my own selfish interest. One opportune time, well, your son can see UDP for 22 years. All these years, young UDP. Runga for runga for parliament. Nyarion nga lose on the UDP. Nganyo UDP select la. Develop president. Because UDP nyoko def president. In the sense that ñom ñoko select and coalition bi ñew jappasi même nek president. Yow nga dem di undermine ñoñu di or ñoñu. So your son nekon UDP all these years. Amuton njeriñ dang fa nekon rek just pour sa bop.
Yeah, but then Barrow has said it in his interview with in an interview, for example, and even the way he was selected, the process was corrupt somewhat because he never was interested. Topanenko up to the last minute before he submitted. They really wanted him because it was him, Bojaju and the other person from MRC that he keeps saying. And he said that everybody wanted him and the AGM Seekers and others were following him. He did not, in fact, submit his application till the last minute from what he said, probably when the deadline was very near or has already passed. So UDP actually wanted him there. The process was corrupt from what he said.
They wanted him there.
So how would you call him selfish when he was not even interested? Then Topper, somehow the way he presented it, in fact, don't do this guy, don't hajan guy.
Wow, I'm a man like Munabuga Mike B. My pretend bugumo. Wow, be nga force ma memo jël ko. Feka bugon nako. Wow,
but then man mala force. So
wow, why feka man dama use because xam naa ne yow bëgg nga ma am ko te man ko ginnaaw bëgg waaw man tam ma def no même am ko rek.
But then you've been criticized though a lot, the Almamitals and others. You've been criticized a lot. Where were you guys? Not only even with Barrow, even the other people.
Look, even during Yaya days, there are certain people in the struggle. They know because you see, fighting Yaya is not only coming openly in a political rally or in the open,
social media.
Yes, and fight him directly. Because we all know, the type of person he was. So you have to fight him in different ways. Some of us were using different ways of fighting him.
Let us know your way.
No, there's no need. No,
in what way did you contribute in fighting him?
No. Like the Usainus and the others, they know. They know.
What you said, I agree with you. Some people were out there being very outspoken and vocal. Others contributed money. Religious leaders, them talk TSN, Kurushe, Kala, Bible, yes, others, yes, everybody, yes. Security contributed, even IEC. So this change was brought about by cross-section. Legio, Timan Farnaga Bokon. I'm not
good with cruise.
So it was money.
I was contributing in different ways.
Okay, let us know. Money.
No.
Did you influence people behind this?
Influence now. Need you definitely. No.
Adama wants to know where were you? Where was Tombong?
Where was he?
He was at UDP until he was made the candidate.
He was a UDP's wolf in sheep clothing.
You are watching the Nyohobai show on the Gambian Talents TV. Mr. Tombong Saidy is my guest. This is interesting. So you joined UDP. You guys did the Congress. People said, though, it wasn't fair. That there were people at UDP that when your batch came, you, the Almamitals and all the others, Denjel Fahas Nifanekon, people that died for the party, people that struggled, people that were tortured for the party, to replace them with you guys who at some point even aided and abetted Yaya or supported Yaya in whatever he was doing because you were in the system. According to them, that you didn't even condemn, but from what you told us, your contributions, maybe Dinakobai to the listeners and the viewers to judge. But then they said, yen dangen nekon futo yen tagrek har be yefi jeex ngeen doora ñew parewlen won pour dé Almamital could have done a lot yourself and all the others.
No, ñun gis nga mun nga nekk ci système bi ba pare doo nekk a psycho fan.
Okay.
Understand nga mun nga nekk ci système bi nga choose pour nekk ay psychophane because of sa incompetence ay yooyu nga bugg a di please yaaya rek because of loolu ngay def anything pour please ko you know ñun mel ñu woon noonu ba pare government bi is for the Gambia understand nga mun ngaa nekk foofu di dimbale Gambia bi te nekkul ne yaa ngi empower yaaya you know so foofu la ko nit ñi war a seetee because I was at GRTS working, helping, doing a lot of other things. Even after I left, I was involved in a lot of activities that was meant to help Gambia in one way or the other. You know, I was getting employment, I was helping train. I mean, a lot of people I helped them got scholarships and others, you know. So there were different ways of contributing. But after all, Gambia, you have only very few people. Gambia is a small country. You know, for example, legi so honne mole ku musa liggéey ci government bi du lifin kon ken du bokk fen because even Amadou Sane was once an accountant general of Yaya Jammeh sanga so ñu bari liggéey nañ fofu I mean wa liggéey nga ci government bi wala doesn't mean ne da nga nekk psychophane di propel anything lu Yaya wa like ñi nga xam nañ ma ci early days bi even some ministers at the times ñoo am problem man maay dem face Yaya xam nga wax ko diga bi and there's another jarbaatam James Kujabi mu ngi New York léegi time boobu sax nekk protocol officer lu xew maa moom dañoo ànda ida moom mu dem o man ma dem o ñu ñaar ñu dem pour fight indi waaw okay you know so am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne you know some of them ñu ngi watch
okay, so coming back to that, fair enough with the UDP stuff. Now Tombong is full-fledged UDP. You are one of the executives and, of course, responsible for the external affairs, foreign affairs portfolio in the UDP shadow cabinet. How did this come about? Why the external affairs? Why didn't Tombong go to any other position?
I didn't even go for this position, to tell the truth. We had a meeting at Suku's house, Suku Singhate's house, with all the potential executive members, because by then, Barrow was trying to get his hand-picked people to certain positions within the party, so that he will hijack the party later. But we knew about it. So we came up with a team, you know, UDP counseling team, headed by Usenu Dabo, and others. So when we were selecting, they came up to that position, and then Suku...
This was prior to the Congress?
Yeah, prior to Congress, like when we were identifying people. So Suku nominated me in that, and then I said, no, I'm not interested. I just want to be in the background and help. Then he insisted, then the others, everybody there insisted, no, you know, Lamin Jame and others, they all insisted. I said, okay, fine, I will accept. That's how I accepted to be in the list for the Congress. Yeah.
Okay. So
and then we went to the Congress, and then everybody, some had opposition, some did not have opposition. With me, Rohilo was interested in the same position. You know. Then we went to the Congress. When they announced the position, then some people from Banjul raised their hand. They nominated Rohilo. They said any other person. Then my people also from CRR, they nominated me. So they said, go in the Congress. When there is a contest, they will ask you guys to go. To go back in the to go back in a small room and negotiate. So that one of you would step down. You know, but then when we went there, we discussed. Eventually, she agreed to step down, and you know, I was unanimously elected. Because for us, we did our homework. There was, I think, 1,200 delegates. I mean, we had more than 900 already votes in our camp. So anybody who had stood against our team would have lost anyway, because it was evident there. When they announced my name, the noise and the uproar, showed. So Usainu and others and other MPs and Salih Fujaiti and others prevail on her to step down, because she's a mayor, and if she goes to the election and lost, it will not look good. And then she stepped down, and I was unanimous. I was unopposed, and then the entire team, nobody was opposed, so there was no election.
Okay, that argument can stand for you. Your time in Bugulo on Saturday, nominate and the like. Can Barrow not use the same argument? How do Barrow the same thing like that? Moment Buguton. No, wow. Nakala's strategy be how are you different from Barrow?
No, man suma case dafa different, because man all the time du ma dee bugg a nekk si kanam. Man suma taati mooy nekk si gannaaw. waaye bi ñoom suku ñu fa nekk ñëpp ñoom Kémo Cissé ñëpp insist ñoo ñëpp they are now all members of the executive now, Kémo Cissé of GFF. So I agreed and took it.
So why at what point did you guys know that Barrow actually was trying to hijack UDP, as you said, was trying to get favors? When did you know?
Because she paid
in English, yeah.
In the payments, that's when things started happening. Because you see, the idea of by then I was not in the executive. The idea of paying the regional chairman and some of these Yai Compin and MPs and stuff came from the UDP executive. The UDP had a plan to come up with some kind of an allowance for some of these people to help them. And Lamin Cham was then in the executive because he was the president of the youth wing. So he took that idea, they took it to Barrow. Barrow has resigned, he's not in the executive, but he was the eye of Barrow and the ear of Barrow in the executive. So he went and took that plan to Barrow, and Barrow saw it, thinking what he is thinking, or the both of them. Then they just took the list and the amount, and then take the money and start going around directly to the people, giving it to them rather than putting it through UDP. If he wanted it to be a UDP project implemented by UDP, he would have said, okay, I have some funds, here is UDP, give it to the treasurer, UDP put it in their account, and then UDP will dish it out. So that's when we started knowing that he's up to something.
Okay. Then at that point, what did you guys do? We heard of the handouts to the MPs, of course. Was that part of the same payment you are talking about?
Yes, that's part of the same payment. Okay. Yeah, that's when things started, like instead of doing things through the party, it's just like you now. If you come to my house, if you come to my house and give me some money, say, okay, this is from Mr. Njai, it's for you. I'll say, I'll thank Mr. Njai because Mr. Njai gave it to me. Okay.
Without mentioning.
Yes. But if you come and say, this is from the party, UDP has decided to be giving some allowances to help you guys. This is your share. Then in that case, I would know this from the party, and not from Mr. Njai. So that's when we started knowing that, this guy is up to something else.
Okay.
And then he created this Barrow Youth Movement. And we have a UDP Youth Movement, Youth Wing already. So then we start seeing the same sign as what Yaya did with the July 22nd movement. Yeah. Then we start being more vigilant and yeah.
Okay. So the party continue and you are having a lot of programs and activities. I mean, Lloyd Dabo was still in the system though. I mean, at this point, a lot of people criticize him, said he should have resigned as the Secretary General. I'm saying what people were saying, that he should have resigned at the time because he was in the government and still leading the party, and there were a lot of differences that were obvious that you people already know, as you stated, but he was still there. I mean,
No, I mean, he was still there, and it was good that he remained there, because if he had resigned, or they have resigned, they would have made it easy for Barrow.
How?
Yes, because he would say, well, you see, I didn't fire them. They left the government. You know.
Yeah, but if they had integrity and there was nothing,
Staying there
outright
does not reduce 1 cent.
They were just collecting money from Gambia, from Gambian taxpayers.
No, they were doing a good job. They were qualified for what they were doing,
yes,
and they were delivering. You know, and they stayed there delivering. I mean, because they are not there for Barrow, they are there for the Gambia. So they were delivering and serving the Gambia.
Yeah, but at this point there was that conflict of interest outright between them and Barrow, and
no, there's no conflict of interest. There was a problem. Barrow have a problem with UDP.
UDP didn't have a problem.
No, we don't have a problem with Barrow. Barrow had a problem with UDP. Yes, but we don't have a problem with Barrow.
Have a problem with Barrow.
And Barrow and Usenu and the others, they were there working for the Gambia, for the Gambian people. Yes.
Yeah, but then, like Barrow said, he's the bus driver, and the bus, people on board the bus should have supported the agenda. But if at some point they were
UDP and Usenu and others, we support the Gambia National Development Program. That is the agenda of the Gambia.
Run by Barrow.
If Barrow has his own agenda, we cannot support Barrow's agenda. We are supporting Gambia's agenda. I mean, we were very key in formulating and designing that national development program.
Yes.
And when we went to the donors conference, we played a key role,
which he recognized.
And everybody else did. So anything that deals with that, we will support it and embrace it. But anything that deals with Barrow, with his Barrow Youth Movement, Barrow Fans Club, we are not into that. Yes.
Yeah, but just recently we've seen UDP also challenging Dabo, challenging the MPs and stuff, the UDP MPs, and this made headlines, front page headlines and stuff. I mean, some people are criticizing UDP for doing the same thing that Barrow did, because Barrow said, if you don't support my agenda, I mean, you gotta get off the bus. So UDP is not claiming similar things.
But Barrow,
how different is he?
The difference is
UDP with
Barrow is there as the president of the Gambia. The Gambia's agenda is number one. Okay? UDP also have an agenda, and what that is the interest of Gambia. Okay? If you are there in UDP and you don't want to support Gambia's agenda, you want to support Barrow's agenda, you go to Barrow.
How are they supporting Barrow's agenda? They are MPs and they were elected. I mean,
you are MP.
In fact, Lord Dabo made this pronouncement during the Congress and warned the MPs and challenged them that whoever is confident, I mean, that they can stand on their own, let them resign from UDP and we go to the polls.
Yes, that's true, because those MPs, they are in parliament because of UDP. They didn't vote for them because of them.
Well, Barrow is claiming the opposite, because he gave them money according to him and he supported them, and the influence of Barrow and incumbency, Dabo was in the government at the time. So people say that incumbency, I mean, advantage is what made UDP won all these seats.
No, that's not it. UDP won all those seats because of UDP.
Yeah, Mr. Saidy, UDP been there for 20 years and they never won. How many seats have they been winning? How many seats have they been winning? If they won,
because the election was being rigged.
No.
Yes.
Election was being rigged.
Yes.
Parliamentary election.
Yes. You see the reason. You see the election in the Gambia. The way it is rigged. It's not in the polling booth. It's during the registration. You see the coalition. They won because of two things. Apart from everybody going behind Barrow. Because the APRC bureau was burned down, and more than 200,000 voters were burned down. Ahmad Ba worked with the Senegalese authority, and they closed the border and seized all those coming from Senegal with voters card. And that's why Yaya was saying, where are these 250,000 votes. Yeah. And that's how UDP lost a lot of seats, even the elections, even the 2007 election. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, people are criticizing UDP a lot for some of these things. That the same thing they're accusing Barrow of is the same thing that they're doing, because Barrow took everybody off of the bus who wasn't supporting him, and UDP is following that same footstep.
No, it's different. UDP is a political party, not in government. Okay, and the interest of UDP is to make sure that they have people who have the interest, who are in line with the interest of UDP to win the next election. So if you are within the party and you have a conflicted interest from what we want, yes, you go. Simple.
And whatever it takes, you will make it happen. UDP was widely criticized in your West Coast Congress and everything. That outright, a lot of things happened. Even when the people wanted, some of the guys that were there, UDP did everything possible, like the chairmanship for West Coast and all of that.
The chairmanship was wanted by some of the elements who are supporting Barrow. But the majority of West Coast, they didn't want them.
What do you have to back that argument?
Because that's why he lost the election. He went to an election and he lost.
After a lot of politics, internal politics was done.
Well, I mean, what internal politics?
A lot of internal politics.
No, he was the incumbent and he lost. So that means there is something wrong with him.
Molko Abedullah, and this is a fact, Gambian politics, we all know. Tribes play a lot of role in this. Yes, it's a fact. I've made this analysis. Yes, when you have the last election, when I analyze it, a lot of the Fonyikas voted for Yaya Jammeh. Fuller concentrated communities either voted for Ahmad Ba or Mama Kande or wherever it is, they voted based on tribes, and it's the fact. When you talk about the Mandinka settlements, most of them would vote for UDP. So this is just a fact. It's nothing extraordinary. I'm few tribes here and there. Maybe I'm somebody that will be dividing their votes across, but this is a fact for Gambian politics. Do you agree?
Well, no. You don't. No. I wouldn't say I agree. No, because it's not like a yes and no answer. Because Gambian politics, obviously, tribe plays a role. That nobody can doubt that. But also, if you look at all the political parties, they might have a majority from one tribe, but they still have members from other tribes. That is my and sometimes it's not even tribe. It's the person and the region he's from. I'll give an example. When Sirif Diba was running against Jawara, Sirif Diba is from Badibu. In the Badibus, I mean, Sirif Diba would win. You know, and even though he's Mandinka, Jawara is Mandinka, Jawara will also win in Birkama area because the mom is from around Birkama and in the Nyanis and others. Yeah, it happens. But you still have Mandinkas who are with Halifa Saleh.
Absolutely.
Yes, you have Fullers who are with UDP. You know, it's mixed.
Okay, fair enough. But then now the issue is people are saying that people are claiming. Where I'm getting at is people are saying that UDP have a big problem now because BB just is about to launch his party. They say BB is launching his party. Wait a minute. You have Barrow there coming up, and he will take a lot of the UDP votes because a lot of the UDP strongholds. BB is still
No. BB is a spent force. BB is
not a threat to UDP.
No, it's not a threat. BB lost to Papa Njai. to Papa Njai in the
he's claiming there was internal politics played.
Yeah, but that just shows you if BB can lose to Papa Njai during the PVP
convention.
Yes,
Congress.
Their Congress. That shows you how strong he is. That speaks for itself.
So BB is not a threat to
no,
UDP.
BB is not a threat to UDP. You see, UDP
But you just told me that regions, I mean, and where it's from Kiang and Jara.
But
his people.
That doesn't mean anything. Not BB. BB is finished.
Okay.
He's just wasting his time and money.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Finally, you are in the US. You say on behalf of UDP, you told me earlier. What is the mission of what is the purpose of your trip?
The purpose is just to meet my fellow UDP supporters in the diaspora, especially the US chapters of the various diaspora chapters in different states, to familiarize myself with them and work together to prepare for the next election. We have started.
People say UDP now have money. Where is the money coming from? You guys are traveling all over. One minute you are in UK, the next minute Europe, the next minute in the US. Loadabo goes and comes. I mean, Rohilo goes and comes. Now you are here, different UDP executive.
UDP, Halis be UDP la joge. Ñun ñoo nekk di fond suñ boppa. Like this trip, man ma fond suma boppa 100%.
Rohilo claim this.
Man ma fay suma own pass ma ñëw. Did them different states, with I have friends who are supporting me here and there. I paid my own tickets, to come and meet my fellow supporters and strategize with them. What's the way forward for the next election?
Okay.
Because we have to be ready and ready early. Yeah.
Because of BB coming Barrow and
No. Because we want a UDP government that will take Gambia to higher heights. Because we want to show people what a UDP government would do for this country.
So you are confident that come 2019 London 2021, 2021.
Yes.
UDP waxuñ dara ci 29 3 years jot na.
No, 5 years la.
3 years jot na.
No, 3 years jot na. Am nga 3 years jot na bi. Barrow has an agreement with the coalition.
Yes.
Okay. For the 3 years. Okay. Why? You cannot force him to resign. But if he resigns voluntarily, we'll go to elections and we'll win. If he doesn't resign, we'll win in 2021.
2021, you are confident that UDP Nyohobai occupies State House?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. No wonder I have some yellow on my shirt.
Without a doubt. Remember the first round.
Even
second round.
GPU sa nyung leen agenda gisagulo guys ci sen right GPU sa nyung leen agenda ko just teasing. Yeah, so your trip, how far, where and where did you go so far, and how is it going? You are currently in Seattle. Where and where?
Yes, I went to Florida, went to Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami, went to Atlanta. Yes, I'm here now in Seattle. From here I'm going to Columbus, Ohio. Then from there I'm going to North Carolina. From North Carolina I'm going to New York. From New York I'm coming to Maryland. And then I'll go to Madison, Wisconsin. They are launching their new chapter 27th of this month. Then I'll go there and then go back to Maryland after 2 days, 30th. I go back to Gambia for Tobaski.
How has it been? All the places you've been?
No, it's been very good. It's been very good, and I'm very glad that I came. At least I've been able to see some of them face to face for the first time and sit with them and strategize. And we are set and ready. Even if there's an election tomorrow, we are ready.
UDP is ready.
Yes, it's ready.
Okay, that's good to say.
Yes.
What connection does Tombong has with sports? We see Tombong engage in a lot of sports.
Tombong was a sportsman. I ran track and field. I played football. And I like organizing. I think sports is it's one of our biggest resources that government is neglecting. For me, I think our most valuable resources is the sports, human resources. Because I would say, for example, if we have 2,000-3,000 Gambians all over the world playing football, tennis, basketball and stuff, can you imagine how much money they are going to remit back into the country? So for me, that's one of our most valuable resources, and that's one thing a UDP government would make sure that it's well nurtured and developed.
Mashallah.
Next UDP government, Gambia will be in the Africa Cup of Nations.
Mashallah. UDP, they will be in the Africa Cup of Nations. Thank you very much, Mr. Saidy. Your final words.
Yes, thank you for your interview, and thank you for your support. Gambia Talent TV has been very supportive, even during our recently interfaith Senegal-Gambia conference on Christianity and Islam. and the Senegambia run for peace, the relay run we had to Dakar, you know, and we like that. And thank you for the support and continue doing the good work. And thank you, viewers. And I hope all of you will start looking at UDP, because UDP is the future. And it will be a good Gambia and a better Gambia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tombong Saidy. I didn't make a mistake, actually, making sure that I have some yellow on my thing, just in case, because I'm not very sure the lack of Pata PJs and others. You are watching the Nyohobai show on the Gambian Talents TV. Mr. Tombong Saidy was my guest. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sit back, relax, till we come your way next time. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Tombong Saidy, Senior Administrative Secretary for External Affairs for UDP and CEO of AMRA. I watch Gambian Talent TV. Please keep watching Gambian Talent TV.
Justice Charno Suleiman Jallo, Chairman of the Gambia Constitutional Review Commission, and I watch Gambian Talents TV.
Karosu Properties and Investment Limited, ye can also dale lamen karawa 20x20. Jiobeje, Kurangabeje. Ninsun karo bunya na la horomo kang iba wafila $200,000 cash. Ikafumim fane mortgage ka domon ninjo katafu kari woro ibo wafila $250,000. Kairosu Properties and Investment Limited ibal contanda sunkaro. Kairosu Properties, link us and we make you a home builder.
Gambian talents allekano yenyala mandia apachaki alla boylo nyancho Jollof Arts.
It's one fact, you know what I mean, at Gambia Talent Promotion TV and all that. You get me? So len buge gis lu xew ci deka bi ak lu waral ci deka bi TV bi la fi fans yak and am di jama yi ak haters. Welcome to Gambia Talent TV show, you get me? Sen hol xalaat yu bon yi nañ ko sànni fële si mbalit gi ne li xale ndaw yi toog di ko foyee fële cause Peppa TV bu nekk si tundi Gambie gi Gambian Talent TV mooy seeni baay man one pack maa ko wax ku ko dinaay nga def leneen comme gars yi ñu ñooy defee yaa ngi understand ñun ñoo fi ñëw xoolal di régler lu fi manqué di mutal lu fi manqué di def lu fi kenn deful mu ngi nii
Jamban glamour jamban fii si biir dëkk bi dama ne ku doon daw na nga bàyyi daw ku doon xalaat na nga bàyyi xalaat parce que original materials la ne dama ne yéen ñi nga xam ne yéen a doon xalaat naka la fan la ak foo koy amee si jamban glamour rek nga ko amee fépp fu waay nekk rek ñu indil la ko si sa bunti néeg si sa bunti kër yow su dee yaa ngi Europe bul xalaatati dara call ñu rek ñu waxtaan ak yow ba juboo sa piis si sa bunti néeg dama ne jamban glamour mi ne duma am bitik de déedéet man si askan bi laa nekka foo leen ma woo rek ma tax
Jamban glamour xeeti piis boo xalaat amal na leen ko fi lu si mel ni Facebook taka peinture polman VIP batik Instagram WhatsApp xanaay wax day jee
Jambang Sriya Gamo yëngu nañ de askan bi yëgu leen ko kon ma yëgal leen
782-5587 wala 299-2967 bete nga email ñu jambamfatumk@gmail.com
jamban glamour